Because everybody's still getting their food. But Dr. Bruce, who many of you have heard before, some of you just left his workshop, has agreed to talk to us for about 10 minutes. Now, if you haven't heard Dr. Bruce, I've heard him on multiple occasions, you're in for a treat. He's a very interesting guy. And I don't know if I made a mistake, but I told him he could talk about anything he wanted. So I bear no responsibility for the contents. All right? I did leave that door open. But I will just read you his bio. And I know it's difficult, but if you could just kind of keep your voices down so we can show some respect. He has to leave to catch a train. He said something about back home in 9 inches of snow. So I think everybody's using this as an excuse, but we'll do the best we can. Anyhow, Dr. Bruce currently serves as the assistant professor and clinical instructor at the Yale University School of Medicine. Could you please keep it down over there? Until Dr. Bruce is done? Thank you. In addition to his work at Yale, Dr. Bruce also functions as the medical director of 2 substance abuse treatment centers in his hometown of New Haven, Connecticut, which has 9 inches of snow. Dr. Bruce's work in the field of medication-assisted treatment includes actively participating in conferences, giving lectures on the subject of substance abuse treatment, and publishing numerous articles. Dr. Bruce, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. I'm obviously not Raquel. So I just wanted to take 1 second to tell you a story and another second to applaud you all for the great work that you do, for being dedicated and coming out here in the snow to talk about drugs, which I think is a fabulous thing to do. So I applaud all of you for your dedication to the work that you do and for remembering that drug users are people too, and that drug users have the same rights as people who don't do drugs. So my story is, and I apologize to those who are in the workshop who heard the story, they can now pretend that, I guess since you've heard the story, you can go on talking about it. So one of my mentors at Yale, who's a very accomplished scientist but doesn't have a lot of interpersonal skills, was, when he was a medical student in New York City, had a patient, and that patient was a heroin addict with pneumonia. And this gentleman, so my mentor, Dr. Fickrig, as any good medical student would do, went through the entire history and physical examination of this patient. And one of the things medical students do is they ask people about their social history, right? What drugs do you do? What do you do for a living? Does anyone like you? Those kinds of things. And so they, he asked this person's a former heroin addict. And so what do you do for a living? That's the question. And the gentleman said, well, I play the trumpet. And so my colleague who thought, my goodness, this man obviously does not understand the question, said, no, sir, I don't mean what is your hobby. I mean, what do you do for a living? And the man said again, well, I play the trumpet. My colleague who really didn't get it thought, okay, well, maybe he just doesn't understand. He is a drug addict after all. I'll just kind of go on, and we'll get back to that. Well, the patient, Mr. Davis, said to the medical student, when I get better, I've got pneumonia, when I get better, I'll play the trumpet for you, and you can decide if I play the trumpet for a living. Well, the gentleman he was taking care of, Mr. Davis, actually did play the trumpet for a living. His name was Miles Davis. So, for those of you who, hopefully everyone in the audience knows that Miles Davis was a heroin addict. Miles Davis fired one of the greatest saxophone players in the world, John Coltrane, for getting high on heroin. If you guys have ever been to 125th Street in New York, maybe you visited Billie Holiday's clinic. Billie Holiday was copping dope the day she died. So what's the point of my story? Heroin does not discriminate. It affects people with a whole lot of talent. And then sometimes we have to look beyond the addiction, and we have to see the person underneath. My mentor, Dr. Fickrig, didn't do that, right? He saw a guy, an African-American man, he's a heroin addict, he's got pneumonia, guy's probably homeless. He didn't look beyond to see who this was. You don't have to be Miles Davis to deserve respect. Don't misunderstand this. But you have to look beyond the addiction, and you have to see that everybody deserves respect. And everybody has a song worth playing and a life worth living. So I applaud you all again, because you all are helping make that happen. And you have to fight a lot of adversity. You have to fight people that work in government or work with the police who don't understand that, or frankly, don't really care. So I want to encourage all of you to fight what you fight, to remember that for all of the people that may relapse, may get incarcerated, may overdose and die, that there are people that you can affect who can change their lives. Right? Miles Davis got sober and went on to play beautiful music that changed a generation. Right? John Coltrane did too. Now he died of liver cancer that he got, right, from hepatitis C probably, from music. But who knows, with the person that you're working with right now, you don't know what that person will do in the future. And that person may do something great. So don't forget, look beyond what you see right now, because who knows what that person will do in the future. So I applaud all of you for doing a fabulous job. God bless and be safe.
Thank you.